Hola, ¿cómo están? Yo soy Carla Campuzano y estamos aquí live con algunos de nuestros realizadores de la competencia de cortometraje internacional. Nos encontramos en la novena edición del Festival Feratum, que está tomando lugar en Pátzcuaro, Michoacán, en las fechas del 19 al 22 de noviembre. Estamos muy emocionados de tenerlos a ustedes el día de hoy. So today I'm going to switch to English because right now the filmmakers that we have right now, they're English speaking. So we have for the short film And Then God Laughed, we have Sonia Dagara from the USA. We have Carlos Robles from Mexico. We have the short film The Gift with Jacinta Charles. We have Snake Dick, the short film Snake Dick of David Mahmoodieh. And then we have The Well, directed by Neil Van. Thank you very much, guys, for being here. Now I'm going to leave you guys with Naura Broquet, which is our programming director. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. Thank you for being here with us today. Welcome to Feratum Film Festival. I'm going to start in alphabetical order. So first question for And Then God Laugh. So Sonia, thank you for being here with us. So you were raised in Switzerland by a Tunisian mother and an American father. You pursued your education in the American University, and you have a degree from Prague. So you travel a lot. And this is like a sort of melting pot, mixed of cultures. So this is very visual. We can see that in your work. So, and Carlos, o sea, you're Mexican. So can you please talk about how it is to be an expat, and your character in your short film is an expat?
Yeah. I feel like so much is lost in translation in cross-cultural communications, and things that might be normal to some or just like common courtesy to some might just not even enter someone else's radar. And so I think someone who isn't used to it might feel maybe a little isolated or alone, or think that they're doing something wrong. And so that's kind of what we're exploring with Robert, where, you know, clearly he's got to work on some stuff himself, but I think he's just like questioning a lot about how he acts in life and about who he is, because things don't seem to be going his way at all, you know. And some of it is cultural and some of that is just bad luck, you know, but it's exacerbated by his isolation as an expat, I think.
Yeah, I would agree with you.
Okay, great. Yeah. And it's a very sarcastic short film with black humor. So what was your main inspiration?
Our main inspiration was mainly, I think, life, just circumstances, and primarily the filmmaking by the Coen brothers and Martin McDonagh, who's made films like In Bruges, Three Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri, and I mean that's basically it. I don't know if you want to.
I think every time we try to write, I think dark comedies are basically differently timed dramas. So I think every time we try to write something serious, the rhythm with which we kind of put pen to paper kind of destines it for dark comedy. We can't really avoid the genre either. It's kind of like what we end up doing.
Yeah.
Yes, I thought about the Coen brothers. Are just wondering. Can you talk about the experience of working together? What is to be with a co-director?
Go for it. Go for it.
We kind of fell into it early. We met in film school, and Carlos read something that I wrote without my permission, and was like, "Let's work together." And I was like, "No, you read what I wrote without permission." But then, we're a good team. And I think our teachers encouraged us from the get-go. We kind of complement each other, and it works on set, and we have no reason to kind of question it, right? I don't know. You want to keep working together?
No, it flows smoothly, way better than some would imagine, for sure.
Yeah.
Speaking of teachers, one of my teachers is also a participant here. I'd like to mention Neil Dan. He was one of our teachers in DFS.
Hey, Carlos. Good to see you on here.
Oh, good. Just add to mention.
Well, that's great. And you're competing.
It's awesome. It's really awesome. Yeah.
It's cool.
So happy to see you on here.
For sure. Yeah. Happy to see you too, man.
So your babies are competing. That's great. That's a wonderful news. So what's your next project?
Go for it.
We're working on another short right now, and we're working on a feature within the same genre, completely different setting. I don't know if you want to say more about it.
Dark comedy.
Yeah.
A little shorter this time around, and yeah, I mean, hopefully this time we'll shoot it in Mexico.
That's the
my
plan.
Mexican roots, so we'll see how that goes, and then we have another feature. It's still a baby.
It's a baby.
It's a freaking baby. Yeah. So that's it for the moment.
Okay, Mexico. That's great. That's gonna be a new adventure. It will be in Mexico City, or you thought about it somewhere
Mexico City. Mexico City.
Okay.
Yeah, that's yeah.
Okay, that's great. Thank you guys for being here, and we're gonna switch to Jacinta.
Oh, hello.
So, hello. Your short film is The Gift, and you wanted to deal with the subject of bullying and mental health, and that is a real stigma in our society. So, your protagonist is a little girl with big ears, very big ears, and big ears person are not considered to be very attractive in our society, but I know that for Japanese people it's a symbol of wisdom, and I think for Siddhartha it was also a symbol of wisdom, and also to be able to listen to nature. Is that true, or?
Had no idea. I had no idea that Japan. I mean, it makes sense, I think it makes sense. But yeah, I had no idea those two cultures thought that of kids with big ears. No.
I thought also about Dumbo.
Oh, well, that's that. Dumbo could fly too, so yeah.
There are many women working in your short film, so there are a lot of leadership roles in various departments that were headed by women. That's awesome, and I know it's part of your statement. Can you please talk about this?
Yeah, I think it was when I met my co-writers, Emma and Kendra, in film school. We both really loved working with each other, and we really admire each other's work ethics. And we thought, it would be really great if we just got together with other women, because I think it's about time for us to step in the forefront in leadership roles. And the thing is, we have been so obscured for so long, because no disrespect to men, but it's just that we are just as good or even better. And we thought now's the time for us to come to the forefront. And so it was a very conscious decision. We said, like, okay, when we get together, we want to have women leading certain departments, or in as many departments as we can. And we were very fortunate to find really, really good females in our roles. So our editor, producer, cinematographer, our special effects, makeup, wardrobe stylist, all these, our AD. It was really fantastic. And really, we all got along, by the way. There was no, it was such a cohesive set. Everybody was really great. And I think that is also in part because we all believed in the film so much. So that worked very well. And we also had men on set, and they were such a wonderful bunch to work with. I have to add that. They were very respectful. They understood what we wanted in our film. And they gave us the space and the respect to us to work together. Yeah.
Oh, you're also from Singapore.
Yes.
So you came to the US. Can you talk about your experience a little bit, like Sonia and Carlos? No, how it nourished your short film?
Well, I when I came to Singapore, that was sorry, when I came to the US, that was in 2004. So I've been here for like 16 years now. So but it was a transition. I have to say, it was a bit of a culture shock for me. And the first year, I think, if you compare Singapore to the US, I've never seen a homeless situation before in my life. And that was the first time, and it was a very quick learning lesson. And I think what was more apparent, I've seen it, I've experienced it back in school in Singapore, but it's so much more apparent when I see bullying and the mental health issues in America. It's so much in the forefront, and I was so surprised with the healthcare system that they have in place in America. So that sort of like got me very interested in what this and what the government was doing and what the policies were and all. So I think in a way it sort of informed our film, and especially when we think about kids and bullying that leads to so much more tragic consequences, and so yeah, that informed our film a lot.
So you have very limited dialogues, and to let the film just tell the story, the action, and the beautiful woods. So can you please talk about your writing process also?
Wow, yeah. When we first started writing it, we had, well, first of all, I have to say we had no idea we were writing a horror short film. We just thought, oh, we're gonna write this fantasy drama, and but we're very proud of it, obviously. But when we first started writing, the fact that we were going to film in the woods, which is already so beautiful, and we lucked out with a really amazing actress in Cassandra Lubeck, and we wanted the woods, and we wanted the music, and we wanted the visuals to be characters in the film. So that was the reason why we went with almost no dialogue, and just our aim was to bring the audience on a cinematic journey and have them feel everything that's in there. And of course, the fact that we also have our co-actor is a raven, an actual raven, his name is Drake, and he's wonderful. And even though he looks a little all-encompassing in the forest, he's actually a really, really cute bird. And he like hops around, he eats blueberries, and he's like saying hello to everyone. And I remember telling my editor, we have to try and cut this film around to make Drake look a bit more, like mystical and all that. But yeah, that's the reason why we kept the film without dialogue, because we wanted to bring out all these other elements.
Okay, that's great. And what's your next project?
Currently, I just finished a feature. I just finished writing a feature, sorry, and it's actually inspired by the 1964 race riots in Singapore. We had a race riot as well, and also working on a short film that is pertaining to domestic violence and immigration of an Indian woman, because I'm an Indian I'm an Indian filmmaker, and I wanted to highlight my culture, especially as an Indian filmmaker. And I think we have also amazing stories to tell. So yeah, so that's the road I'm taking now.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Jacinta. So we're gonna talk with David, with Mahmoudiyet. Your short film is Snake Dick,
yes.
And well, you're half Iranian, half British, French Canadian. That's what you said in your director statement. I thought it was very funny. And
it's a weird mix, I know.
It's great. And so you will have a very interesting career. You began as a training AD in production, including X-Files.
Yes.
And you're a director of commercials, and you have your production company, Alpha Wolves. So you're a party ambassador too for kids. That's cool. That's great. Called The Spotlight, a charity which helps foster kids write their own short films.
Okay.
And you love cats. So
Loved it.
it's
In fact, one just walked by a moment ago. I don't know if you saw it, so apologies if that distracted anybody.
great. So the snake tick is inspired by the Me Too movement, right?
Yes, it is.
So it's about male fear towards female empowerment. Can you please talk a little bit about this?
Yeah, so I mean, basically, Snake Dick is a short film in its own right, but it does have feature aspirations. I'm currently writing a feature version, which we hope to make next year, and it tells the story of two young women on a journey across the Californian desert while in possession of a deadly and mysterious weapon. The title is a major clue, and they encounter two men who basically embody the objectification that all women live in fear of, and unfortunately at some point in their lives have to confront. And as you said, you know, the movie it does have metaphors, and it has this sort of allegorical element of it about male fear towards female empowerment. And that really came out of the election of Donald Trump. I first had the idea for this film around the time that he was running for president and then eventually becoming president. And it sort of dovetailed in with the Me Too movement, which I feel sort of the one silver lining to come out of Donald Trump's presidency is that it served as a rocket fuel for feminism. And I think women finally said, you know, enough. I mean, already we're told what to do with our bodies, and now we're being governed by a serial misogynist, you know, who is a self-confessed you-know-what grabber. And, you know, here he is now ruling a country that pioneered women's rights. So I think the bizarreness of that whole thing really sort of is what transposed itself into the bizarre and ludicrous nature of Snake Dick as a premise.
I was wondering, the snake can be a symbol of a penis, but it's also a symbol of wisdom. And I know it's also, I thought about the Gorgon.
Yes.
Is that a inspiration?
Yeah. So it's interesting because the snake sort of represents so many things to so many people. To me, throughout mythology and sort of, you know, ancient history, snakes have always represented fertility. They've always represented growth. This you know, perennial cycle of shedding a skin and bettering oneself. And I feel that's something that women have been reaching for centuries. So I felt that was very symbolic for the characters and the relationship I wanted to have between the characters. Also, you know, the Ouroboros has always represented this continual cycle of life. You know, that's a snake eating its own tail. And I feel like this is an age-old problem. And so again, sort of using a serpent to embody that just felt like the right choice. And then it does have some sort of phallic, you know, natural connotations as well, which certainly helped with the title.
Yeah, that's very interesting because I think the most famous monster in history is women, actually. And so it's very interesting in this case because you reverse that order. Patriarchy is the real monster. So you were talking about you're planning your future film. So
yeah, so
can you please talk a little bit about this?
Absolutely. So the Snake Dick feature is actually set against the backdrop of the 2020 election. So I was watching very closely, of course, as I'm sure you all were. And it's still not over yet. I mean, it is, but it isn't, you know. So, but I can't really say too much about the storyline, but I could say it's even more bizarre than the short. And currently finishing the script on that. We've been very lucky. We've had a lot of interest in the feature, so we're now just trying to figure out who's the best home for us. That's obviously going to depend on who reacts the best to my script. Some of them are going to think I'm crazy and say we're never going to make this, and other people might be like, hey, all right, let's do it. And then so aside from that, which is more of a riskier project, I also have another feature that I wrote and will be directing, and we're currently out to talent on that. So hopefully Snake Dick or the other project will happen next year.
A last and difficult question. What's your favorite horror film?
Oh, wow. I only get to pick one, huh? Okay, well, it's interesting because I have so many directors that I absolutely adore, and, you know, they like inspired me as a kid, but none of them actually make it onto my list when it comes to the best horror movie of all time. That goes to Peter Medak, who made one of the best horror movies of all time in The Changeling. And I always go back to that movie because it's a horror movie that doesn't have it doesn't have a physical presence in any way, shape, or form. It's all psychological. And if anybody who hasn't seen that movie, I'm sure you all have, but if you haven't, or you haven't seen it in a while, really revisit it, because it's an absolute masterpiece in tension building, and how limitation is a very good thing in horror.
Okay, thank you so much, David.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Hello, Neil. So you're the director from The Well, and you're a writer, a director, a producer, and a teacher, and you have your students here with you today also. So you have several short films, and today you will present us The Well. So it's a fairy tale about a boy that believes that he can save his little sister. So I was wondering, The Well is based on the legend, or maybe can you please talk about it?
Yeah, a friend told me a story that takes place in the Czech Republic. I'm in the Czech Republic right now, and there is a castle somewhere outside of Prague that was built in a way to keep hell out. It was built over the pit to hell, and it's a long legend, and it involves this castle that actually has no real practicality or no function, and it's built in a place that wasn't strategically advantageous. Its only function was to keep hell away. So I took some inspiration from that. I loved the story, and that's where The Well came from.
It's a very poetic short film, and it's fun because you say that it's maybe a portal to hell, but in this case, it's also a portal to life.
Right. Yeah, that's right. I loved the story for other reasons, but I sort of inverted it. I wanted it to be, as you said, this portal to life. Maybe it's from a child's perspective, so I'm also aware of that and interested in the idea of the reliability or unreliability of the child's point of view.
Can you please talk about your process of writing and why to choose a little boy and the boy perspective?
Yeah, sure. My process of writing, I don't know, I just write. Sometimes I write really bad stuff, and sometimes it's okay, and then you keep writing, and sometimes it gets better, and sometimes you give up on the idea. It's some version of my process, I guess. In this sense, though, I of course, as I said, I had the legend, but I was also inspired from some locations, and so I had some sense of how I wanted the film to look, and that could work its way into the script. I knew I didn't want a lot of dialogue in the script. I think that's just a tendency I have in my projects. I tend to err on the side of silence, and I think there's maybe a challenge inherent in that, or maybe it's just reflective of the kinds of films that I like. So I think this is maybe how I started. The film was, at first it was a young girl, and then it became a young boy when I found the right actor, and the gender didn't matter for the content. I just wanted someone that could really do it and that I could work well with.
I read you were also very interested in science fiction, and you're maybe planning to do a feature film. Can you please talk about this?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I love sci-fi. I'm a bit of a sci-fi nerd, and so I read a lot of it. I watch a lot of sci-fi. I'm in development on a sci-fi feature. It's kind of like a play on the detective sci-fi subgenre, I guess. So I'm working with a couple of producers right now. We're taking it to Blood Window in Argentina in about 2 weeks, and so we'll be workshopping it there and hoping to shoot in 2021.
Well, we wish you the best of lucks, and we hope you will send us your film to Ferratum.
Yeah. Of course, I would love to.
Okay, last questions. What is your favorite movie?
My favorite movie? Wow, man, David at least got horror movie. I get favorite movie.
No, a sci-fi movie.
Sci-fi movie. I miss sci-fi.
That will be easier.
That's still hard. I don't know what my favorite one is. My answer probably will change in 5 minutes, but right now it is maybe World on a Wire, Fassbinder's like 4-hour weird kind of freak out sci-fi. I love it.
Okay, that's great. Thank you, Neil.
Thank you so
have
much.
a message or maybe something you will say to our audience?
Yeah,
Guys?
I mean, I could just say thank you, everyone. It's a real pleasure. It's a real honor to be here. I hope everyone enjoys the films. I'm so happy to be here with other talented filmmakers too. So, thanks, everyone.
Ok, well, los invitamos a todos a ver los cortometrajes de estos grandes realizadores. Estarán en Filming Latino y les agradecemos mucho que estén con nosotros el día de hoy. Carlita.
Yes, the absolute honor was ours. Thank you very much for being able to join us, guys. I don't know if you watched yesterday our digital ceremony, opening ceremony yesterday. It was amazing, and I hope, well, in other, if 2020 wasn't like this right now, you probably would be here, and we would be really happy to have you. Thank you very much for making some space on your schedule to be able to join us, and hopefully some of
Thank you for having us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks so much.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks so much.
Listo.
Take it easy, Neil.